welcome to an outside edition of a What Sold video, because life has been very interesting the last week. So I'm at the boys' house, where I will probably be for the next month because something else broke in my house. So let me share with you the sales that I made the first week of July when I was on vacation and relaxed and overall in a much better mental headspace. So this is everything that sold for me on eBay July 1st to July 7th. And hopefully you guys are here for this. How about that? For this. And you'll see a dog wandering randomly around behind me. Cool. So I had an amazing end to June. If you have not watched that video, I will link it up above. But because I was on vacation and my store was not technically on vacation, I did a different thing this time where instead of putting my store in vacation mode, I just changed the handling time to where it was like 4 days or so. And I tracked to see if it would be any different. And spoiler alert, it is not. I made the same amount of sales from previous times when I put my store on vacation and gone on this vacation, because it's a 4-day holiday, 4th of July holiday, and made the same amount of sales. So that didn't really do anything. But I'm going to scoot over here. We're going to get into eBay sales. I'm sorry the intro took so long. First thing I sold is this. There's the dog. This is Eileen. If you do not know, this is my dog. She is my beautiful baby. She is a border collie. She is very fluffy. And I love her with my whole heart. So the first thing I want to share for you is this Salt Vinyl Waterproof Mattress Protector. It is brand new sealed, and if you're wondering how in the world did I score this, I bought this nowhere. This was actually given to me by Tommy. Hopefully you guys can hear me over the cicadas. Again, we're just rolling with it. Sold for $9.55 plus shipping. This was free to me, so this was a great sale. Someone had sent me an offer, and I was like, you know what? Sure. You can have it. And this is one of those free things I got at that warehouse thing with all of the shower curtains. So perfectly happy with that sale. This is Y2K Free People. Yes, Free People is that old. And I saw this and was like, I feel like someone's gonna buy this. You know, it's got the Y2K title, it's diaphanous, it's sparkly, it's a leopard like face. I was like, this is gonna work. Sold for $15, the buyer paid for shipping. I bought that at a thrift store, paid like $4 for it, so yay. This is something at the bins. This is a piece of ephemera, so this was something that you got when you went to an Esso gas station when driving across the United States was something people did as a vacation. It sold for $9.87. I paid 25 cents for this at the bins. And this was really cool. It was uncolored in. It was completely unmarked whatsoever. It was just a really neat time capsule into the 1960s. Speaking of time capsules, this is a 90s shirt. I love being able to find vintage in larger sizes because it is harder to find. This is a 2X and it was awesome. It had this like big embroidery all over it. I picked this up during Thriftmas, so I paid around $6 for this shirt, and I'm so glad it found a new home. It sold for my full asking price of $24.87. I will pick up new with tag crap brands when they're new with tag. It just depends on if I think the piece itself will be able to sell. This had a really fun cocktail print on it. I picked this up at the bins, and I figured it would sell on Whatnot. It didn't sell on Whatnot, but when I listed it on eBay, it did sell. It sold for $14.34, so considering I bought this at the bins for $1, perfectly happy with that return on my investment. Another piece I picked up at the bins that didn't sell on Whatnot, this is LL Bean. It's just a pink basic, and again, didn't sell on Whatnot, but it did sell when I listed it on eBay for $11. I don't really expect, like Columbia, LL Bean, Eddie Bauer, when I pick it up at the bins, I'm not really expecting a lot for them unless it's like one of those amazing rare vintage pieces. But I will pick them up because as you see, they do consistently sell for me. Speaking of, another piece that I picked up at the bins didn't sell on Whatnot despite it being brand new. Did sell on eBay when I listed on eBay for my full asking price of $16.87. This is a thank you to Melissa. She didn't buy it from me. She gifted it to me. This is a Nike basketball medium sleeveless top. I sell activewear like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour pretty consistently because I sell it for cheap. When I'm getting it for free, thanks to Melissa, it's an easy sale, $8.39. Thank you, Melissa, very much. I love listing stuff like this. That's an easy listing for me. Vintage book I pick up at the bins, picked it up for 25 cents. It's just because it is a vintage 1960s copy of Politics and Human Ethics. I thought it would sell, and I was correct. Sold for my full asking price of $9.67. This is a vintage first edition hardcover copy of The Moon and the Sun by Vonda McIntyre. This is a Nebula award-winning book, and I did put this up on Whatnot. It didn't sell on Whatnot, but it did sell on my eBay store for more than what I was trying to sell it on Whatnot for. Perfectly content with that. Sold for my full asking price of $11.87. This is on my TBR. If you don't know what TBR means, it means to be read. I am doing a Nebula Award Challenge, so I will get to this eventually, hopefully. I've talked about before how one of the things I love most about being a bins, about going to the bins, is like digging down into the bottom to find the good stuff. And I do dig down to the bottom because I find a lot of really good like smalls down at the bottom. This is a vintage Liberty of London handkerchief. So yes, just a plain little handkerchief because it was Liberty of London, because it was 100% cotton. It did sell for $7. I paid maybe like, I mean, this weighs nothing, like a dime for it. So I'm perfectly happy to list stuff like this. This is also a super easy listing for me. Another book, this is before the media mail rates went up. So I was still selling some of my books at $5.87. This means I made 59 cents, which if you take the cost of goods of this book, which was 25 cents out, I still made like 30 some cents off of this book. If that is not for you, guess what? You don't have to do this. I do this because sustainability is, and saving books is a big deal to me. I really love doing that. I want to continue doing that. So if I'm able to make a little bit of profit and also save a book from the landfill, I'm going to keep doing that. So Star Wars book, put it up on Whatnot, didn't sell on Whatnot, sold it on eBay. This is a really, really awesome book. I was so floored when I found it. It is Picasso Women. So these are all of the works that Picasso did specifically of the women, of female form. This book was special because it was from the 1960s and it's a limited release. It's a beautiful art book, and it was special in that instead of the pictures of his work being printed on the page like most books are now, every single example of his work was its own photograph that could be removed from the book, which I found interesting. It's kind of more like a scrapbook than an actual like regular coffee table book. So this sold for $45. I got this for 50 cents at the bins. This is another one of those books that got passed on by FBA sellers, but I know who Picasso is, and I figured this was special, and I was right. And this sold this sold relatively quickly, and I am so glad it went to a good home. This person did have a bunch of questions that they asked me, if like it had specific photographs or specific examples of his work in it. I asked them what pages they were on, because I didn't want to have to look through the whole book to find these two examples. They gave me the page numbers, and I was like, here they are, sent them a photo, immediately purchased it after that. So, great sale. This is Prairie Kitchen Sampler, 66 Years of Midwestern Farm Kitchen. I either picked this up at that book sale or I picked this up at the bins. So, I paid 25 cents for it. I'm just saying I paid 25 cents for this. Sold for $9.87. Again, happy to do that all day long. I love picking up vintage cookbooks. This is a brand new copy of Fight Club. I am a big Chuck Palahniuk fan. I am trying to collect all of his work in hardcover. Huge Chuck Palahniuk fan. I have still not read this book. I've read Survivor, Choke, Haunted, Diary, Rant, not Rant. Haunted, I think, is what the actual book's called. The Adventures of Buster Casey. Rant Casey. I don't know. Anyway, I've read a lot of his books. I will continue to read his books. He is a weird writer. I actually picked this up at that big book buyout I did. It just finally sold. It sold for $13.87. I paid 10 cents for this book. Thought about keeping it, but again, I want a hardcover, which are very expensive for that particular book. Nike Sportswear. This is a women's large t-shirt. This is one that I thought would sell on Whatnot. It didn't sell on Whatnot, but it did sell when I listed on eBay for $10.09. So I paid less than $1 for this at the bins. Great turnaround for me. This is a pair of vintage 80s Action jeans. I actually bought this at Diversity. I paid $1 for it. It sold for $24.87. I will buy like the vintage Levi's Action slacks and the vintage Levi's Action jeans because they do sell for me. Sometimes they sell faster than others, but they do consistently sell for me. So the battery died. Just why it's a little darker, a little bit more mood lighting right now. I'll just share this one last sale, which is not even that great. It's a vintage 1960s scarf. This is another item I picked up at the bins. So, you know, I have a quarter into it because it's a lightweight polyester scarf from the 60s. Sold for $9.87. The buyer paid for shipping. You know, I'm very pleased with the sale because I feel like it's a good return on my investment. Super easy to photograph. You can see I styled it on Karen in a couple different ways to show it doesn't just have to be a scarf. It could also be a tube top. You could also use it as a headscarf, but you know, Karen doesn't have a head, so I couldn't really show that. And that is everything that sold while I was on vacation, the first week of July. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the cicadas and the random background noises of the neighborhood. Hopefully you guys liked it. And you got to see more of Eileen. Baby girl, come here. And I feel like the boy is randomly going to walk over here too. Hi. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. I have no idea what it's going to be like. Hopefully you're here for it. Bye. Bye. Hero, hero. I want to be a hero, hero. Oh, the hero comes, I can hear the drums and a horse is strong.